Hello friends, this is Shivam Dubey from English Kingdom, Katra, Prayagraj. Welcome to the class. We are continue with Matthew Arnold, and these days we are studying is another longer poem, that is Rugby Chapel. And another elegy where he mourns over the demise of his father, Thomas Arnold. We have studied some of the text of the poem earlier, and once again we will go with the text of the poem. Today it cannot be completed actually, as you see it's a longer poem in one day, but yes, we expect it to be completed next day, and with that there would be almost the end of the all longer poems from Matthew Arnold that we plan to study in the class, and then there will be a few shorter poems from him, and yeah, exactly, there are some critical works that need our discussion, so that we will go with that work as well. And before we move to the text of the poem Rugby Chapel, once again we need to go through the question session, and here is the first question of the day, that is, what's the name of the brother of Matthew Arnold with whom he started writing at early age? What's the name of the brother of Matthew Arnold with whom he started writing at early age? And we have some answers on the screen that we find from Sarita. She is followed by Kalpana, Neeraj, Pratima and Santosh. They all answered it correct, that it is Tom Arnold. That's a nice one. Gunjan has also answered it right. Okay, we'll move with the next one. Who said for Arnold, a was poking fun in the wilderness? Who said for Arnold, a was poking fun in the wilderness? Who stated for Arnold? Who stated for Arnold was poking fun in wilderness? And we have some answers on the screen that comes from Neeraj, Pratima, Gunjan, Kalpana, Sarita. Okay, Gunjan. So they have answered it correct. That's a T.H. Warrens, exactly. It's a T.H. Warrens who stated for Arnold that he was poking fun in the wilderness. Now Santosh has also answered it correct. Okay, that's good one. When was the poem Rugby Chapel published first? When was the poem Rugby Chapel published first? And we find some answer on the screen that goes with Sarita. She is followed by Pratima, Gunjan, Santosh, Kalpana, Neeraj. Exactly, Sarita. They all answered it correct. And that is the collection of new poems in 1867, the first publication of the poem, Rugby Chapel. Okay, going with the next. When did Arnold compose his poem Tarsus? When did Arnold compose his poem Tarsus? Okay, and we go with the answers on the screen, finding it starting with the reply of Sarita, and she is followed by Santosh, Gunjan, Kalpana and Pratima. They answered it correct to be 1865. That's the very year when he wrote this poem. 1866 was first published, and ultimately as a part of a collection it becomes in 1867. Which poem of Arnold has the line, "We will gaze from the sand hills, we will gaze from the sand hills at the white sleeping towns, at the white sleeping towns." I repeat, which poem of Arnold has the line, "We will gaze from the sand hills, we will gaze from the sand hills at the white sleeping towns, at the white sleeping town." I think you guys must try to see the sense of the words from, and you can better understand, because no right answer so far on the screen. We go with the line, "We will gaze from the sand hills at the white sleeping towns, from the sand hills at the white sleeping towns, at the white sleeping towns." That should be okay. So just one right answer we find on the screen comes from Sarita, followed by Pratima. That's the Forsaken Mermaid, the name of the poem that has the line. Right, so Gunjan, she also followed. Okay, we go with the next one. Okay, we have the line, "Who stated for Arnold, the best of his prose has a claim on us today that cannot be matched by his poetry." Who stated, "The best of his prose has a claim on us today that cannot be matched by his prose, by his poetry." The best of his prose, I repeat, the best of his prose has a claim on us today that cannot be matched by his poetry. Who said for Arnold? And we have some answers on the screen that starts with Sarita. She is followed by Neeraj. They have answered it correct. This is Stephen Colony. The spelling is a problem, but exactly that's the right answer. No, not Collins, like it's the Colony. Stephen Colony is the right answer, who thought that the best of his prose is as a claim on us today that can be matched with his poetry. Okay, we'll go here with the next one. When was the Scholar Gypsy published for the first time? When was the Scholar Gypsy published for the first time? When was the Scholar Gypsy published for the first time? We find the answer on the screen coming from Gunjan. She is followed by Santosh, Kalpana and Sarita. They have answered it correct to be 1853 is the right year when the first poems in new edition published, and we found the poem Scholar Gypsy being the part with Sohrab and Rustam as the part. Okay, who said for Arnold? He was beautiful as a young man, strong and manly, yet full of dreams and schemes. Who said for Arnold, he was beautiful as a young man, strong and manly, yet full of dreams and schemes. I repeat the question. Who said for Arnold, he was beautiful as a young man, strong and manly, yet full of dreams and schemes? Let's see the reply on the screen. That comes from Kalpana. Okay, that's a good one. The spelling of Muller is an error. And it's Neeraj Santosh. They've answered it correct. That is Professor Max Muller, who stated for Arnold that he was beautiful as a young man, strong and manly, yet full of dreams and schemes. Exactly, he had a dream. As a dreamer, he was a great poet as well. Okay, well, so when did Thomas Arnold, the father of Matthew Arnold, breathe his last? When did Thomas Arnold, the father of Matthew Arnold, breathe his last? When did Thomas Arnold, the father of Matthew Arnold, breathe his last? And we have some answers on the screen. That comes from Neeraj. She is followed by Sarita, much better. It's Kalpana, okay, Neeraj. Pratima, Gunjan and Santosh, they answered it correct. And that is 12th June 1842 that his father Thomas Arnold breathed his last. Right, we'll move with the next. And that would be, what was the name of the daughter of Arnold whose arrival becomes the reason for his death? What's the name of the daughter of Arnold whose arrival becomes the reason of his death? And we have some answer on the screen that comes here from Sarita. She is followed by Gunjan, Kalpana, Neeraj, Pratima. They answered it correct. And that is Lucy Charlotte, the right answer, the elder daughter of Matthew Arnold, whose arrival actually becomes an unfortunate event, and he, after jumping the fence to catch a tram car, caused almost heart disease, reasoning his death. And now I'll move to the next one. What's the name of the man who called Arnold was not faithful to the scientific view of nature? Who said for Arnold, indeed, Arnold was not faithful to the scientific view of nature? Who said for Arnold, indeed, Arnold was not faithful to the scientific view of nature? I repeat the question. Who said for Matthew Arnold, indeed, Arnold was not faithful to the scientific view of nature? Arnold was not faithful to the scientific view of nature, and we find the answer coming from Gunjan, and she is followed by Pratima. To be Stafford I. Brook, that is the answer. Stafford A. Brook is a reply from Kalpana as well. Okay. Now I'll move with the next one. What's the name of the father of Rustam from the poem Sohrab and Rustam? What's the name of the father of Rustam from the poem Sohrab and Rustam? Okay, we go with the answer, and that starts with the reply of Neeraj. She is followed by Kalpana, Sarita, Santosh, Gunjan, Pratima. They answered it correct to be Zal. Exactly. The name of the father of Rustam from the poem Sohrab and Rustam was Zal. Now I'll move with the next one. Which poem of Arnold has the line, all pains the immortal spirit must endure? All pains the immortal spirit must endure. Which poem of Arnold has this line? All pains the immortal spirit must endure. Which poem of Arnold has the line? And we have some answers on the screen, and that goes with the reply of no, Sarita, that's not. So right answer is from Pratima, and the reply is Shakespeare. That's a good one. I think I repeated this question. All pains the immortal spirit must endure is a line from the sonnet Shakespeare. I think it's a repeated question, and you guys need to go through the questions carefully daily. All pains the immortal spirit must endure. This line from the sonnet Shakespeare. Okay, what's the name of the work whose lines have been used as an epigraph for the poem Tarsis? What's the name of the work whose lines have been used as an epigraph for the poem Tarsis? Okay, and we find the answer, that is Lucretius. That is unpublished tragedy of Matthew Arnold. Exactly, Neeraj, that's nice from you. Lucretius. Now I'll move with the next one. What was the name of the river which have been recalled by Arnold in the poem Memorial Verses? What's the name of the river that have been recalled by Arnold in the poem Memorial Verses? Then we find the answer on the screen from it's Sarita, followed by Neeraj, Pratima, Santosh, Kalpana, and Gunjan. They have answered it correct to be Rotha. Right answer is Rotha as the one that had the line taken from. Now I'll move with the next one. What is the writing style? Writing style, not thematic style. Writing style of the poem Rugby Chapel. What is the writing style of the poem Rugby Chapel? And we have the answers on the screen that come from the reply of Gunjan followed by Pratima and Neeraj, Sarita, Kalpana, Santosh. They all answered it correct, to be free verse. Now I'll go with the next one. Who has been mentioned in the line? Who has been mentioned in the line? He taught us little. He taught us little, but our soul had felt him like the thunder's roll. But our soul had felt him like the thunder's roll. Who has been taught or who has been discussed in the line, he taught us little, but our soul had felt him like the thunder's roll, or whom the poet Arnold is talking about in the line, he taught us little, but our soul had felt like the thunder's roll, and we have the answers on the screen. Oh, no Kalpana, not that, no Sarita. So right answer comes from Neeraj, Pratima, Kalpana, Santosh, as the line is from Memorial Verses. So this line is dedicated to Lord Byron from the second stanza of the poem. And I'll move to the last question of the day, and that is here. What's the name of the man whose private secretary becomes Arnold, that led him path to become the inspector of the school? What's the name of the man whose private secretary becomes Arnold and that led him path to be the inspector of the school? And we have the answers on the screen coming from Sarita. Oh, that's a spelling mistake. And followed by Kalpana, Neeraj, Pratima. Okay, you said that. And Gunjan. So right answer is Lord Lansdowne, and now Santosh's answer. So right answer was Lord Lansdowne, who's becoming the private secretary, actually cleared him the path to become the inspector of the school in 1851 April. Okay, so now it's the time to move to the text of the poem Rugby Chapel that we are continue with, and here are some lines that we studied. So in a former class we could go with the time of his father's passing away, leaving this world. He's sharing his feeling, how he felt with his father when he was a child. And the third point was how a man from the earth lives in the lap of the sky after leaving. Means there won't be any difference. A man who is strong here on this earth will always be strong no matter where he is. Maybe the part of heaven, maybe the part of hell, but he is always the man of firm belief, like he said, for his father to be zealous, beneficent and firm. You remember? Zealous, beneficent and firm. The line that he quotes for his father is very appropriate, that continues with him even when he was trying hard as a poet in the world. What had been him as a matter of consideration or as a matter of worry is actually to think that his father had unfortunately gone away. His father had unfortunately gone away. That is the point he is missing. That's a very common thing, as you can say or as you can understand, the feeling of a son when he loses his father, and the way he feels is actually the feeling of just a man, just a poet. Instead, it's the feeling of the son for his father. And there are some whom a thirst ardent, unquenchable fires, not with the crowd to be spent, not without aim to go round, in an eddy of purposeless dust, effort unmeaning and vain. Ah yes, some of us strive, beautiful line, some of us strive not without action to die, fruitless but something to snatch from dull oblivion, nor all glut the devouring grave. We have chosen our path to a clear purposed goal, path of advance, but it leads a long steep journey through sunk gorges, over mountain in snows, cheerful with friends we set forth. Then on the height comes the storm, thunder crashes from the rock to rock. The cataracts reply, lightning dazzles our eyes. Roaring torrents have breached the track, the stream bed descends in the place where the way for once planted his footstep. The spray boils over its borders, aloft the unseen snowbeds dislodge their hanging ruin. Alas, havoc is made in our train. Friends who set forth at our side falter, are lost in the storm. We only are left with frowning foreheads, with lips sternly compressed. We strain on, and at nightfall at last come to the end of our way, to the lonely inn mid the rocks, where the gaunt and taciturn host stands on the threshold, the wind shaking his thin white hairs, holds his lantern to scan our storm-beat figures, and asks, whom in our party we bring, whom we have left in the snow? Sadly we answer, we bring only ourselves. We lost sight of the rest in the storm. Hardly ourselves we fought through, stripped without friends as we are, friends, companions, and trains. The avalanche swept from our side. Beautiful last two lines. Okay, that's a longer stanza. And as you see, sometimes the stanzas go in a model of paragraph. So we call them to be verse paragraph. This paragraph is especially an example of that verse paragraph. Because we don't find the limited lines, seems to be no limit of the line, and that places the idea very clear on us, and that's what here. And these are some whom a thirst ardent, unquenchable fires. These are the points here. These are some. Means there are only some people in this world who are really very thirsty Thirsty in the sense of to be doing something. To be doing something that favors suffering humanity. To be doing something that helps humanity. Such person never find that their thirst is quenched. They are never satisfied. They just keep moving with the fire in them. Why the thirst is not quenched? Because fire is always on. It's always flaming. The fire of knowing something. The thirst of doing something. Unquenchable desires of helping human being. These things seem to be unstoppable. He wants to be doing it continuously, not with the crowd to be spent. Yeah. Not many people come in that train. You know, most of the people like us are tired of the world we live in. Very soon we find ourselves weary from such work and we want to lose it, we want to leave it aside and go away from that place, go away from that world. And that is what he is talking. That's what he is talking. Not with the crowd to be spent. This idea of unquenchable fire, thirst, is not for everyone. Because there are just few who have this capacity, this capability of having such fire that cannot be quenched, that cannot be satisfied. This is why I said, not with the crowd to be spent. Not without aim to the round. This fire, this journey of some people who want to do something good for human being or anybody who is suffering here is not without aim. It's not without purpose. That's what he said. Not without aim to go round. If there is a visit, if there is a walk by a virtuous man, he does not do it without any reason. He does it with a reason. That's why he says, not without aim to go around in an eddy of purposeless dust. He will not be moving with the flow, with the eddy that shows like there is something like dust and that has no purpose. He does not go, he does not move with the dust. Instead, he goes with purpose round. Not means if one is walking, try to understand, one is walking, dust is very common. If one is sitting, dust is very common. If one is sleeping, dust is very common. Dust will enter. So entering of dust seems to be purposeless. Without any purpose it comes. But when one is on a round, when one is moving around, that is not without purpose. That is full of purpose. And that is an action of the man with ambition to go with unquenchable fire. Unquenchable fire. The desire that's strong. As I told you, it's not like eddy in the sense of flow. It's not like the eddy or flow of powerful water like it's a purposeless dust. Effort, unmeaning and vain. Their effort cannot be unmeaning. Their effort cannot be without use. It's not like in vain. Whatever they do, because there are just few people, not all. Most of us do something that cannot be fruitful, that cannot be useful, Most of us do it, but just few of us are there that whenever they do it with purpose to help suffering humanity. So they are not going to be busy with purposeless dust. They are not going to make any effort that is fruitless or that is meaningless or that is resultless. They are not doing it. Yes, some of us strive not without action to die. Yeah, some of us strive. We make a struggle. We fight. Why do we fight? Not without action to die. Because we don't want to be remembered dying without action. Means, you do action, you will die. You don't do action, you will die. Means one day we have to die. Just few of us, like you remember the line from Ulysses, death closes all, but something at the end, some work of noble note yet may be done. Not unbecoming men that strove with God. Remember that line? Means a few of us are with a purpose here in this life. Few of us don't want to die without action. In fact, we want to die with action. Okay, do and die. It's okay. But die without doing, that's not good thing. Being a human being with a special faculty, like you see, Shakespeare said us to be paragon of animal. Paragon of animal with infinite faculty. We human beings have been praised in Hamlet by Shakespeare. How can we surrender ourselves to death? No. So man who strive, they strive because they don't want to die without action. Fruitless, but sometimes to snatch from dull oblivion. Yeah, sometimes the action seems to be fruitless. Why fruitless? Because you do die, you don't do die. So from the different point of view, why to do and die? Die without doing. This can be the action. But this action, but something to snatch. Remember, the line is very much similar to Tennyson's line. But something, some work of noble note may it be done. That's point. Some work of noble note may yet be done. That is the point he highlighted in Ulysses. Once again he is telling here, Matthew Arnold is telling, it's okay we die if we do. From some perspective it can be foolish. But remember, this gives us chance to snatch something, to find something. So if there is a chance to find something, why shouldn't we make try? We know we fail. Does that mean we should stop making effort? No. Instead, we should keep making effort. That will give us energy, that will give us confidence. It's okay if we are not going to get all, we will get something. If not all, we will get something. But something to snatch from dull oblivion. The world of forgetfulness, that's oblivion. We forget everything. With the passage of time, we forget success, we forget failure. With the passage of time. But yes, from that world of oblivion, only man of action can snatch something. because it's a very, very factual analysis of the condition. We fail, we succeed. Remember the line from Ulysses. It may be the gulf will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isle and see the great Achilles whom we knew. There's always two sides of an action. There is always two sides of an action. One that is negative, the next that is positive. Negative and positive both are there. As are we? Find it, this point here. Fruitless, but something to snatch from dull oblivion, nor all glut the devouring grave. Try to understand. Not all. Yeah. We remember that the grave. Remember the line from Thomas Gray. The path of glory leads but to the grave. According to him, everything that we earn ultimately meets its end with the grave. But what is Arnold's view? Nor all. Yeah, grave devours everything. You can say the grave eats away everything. Whatever we earn, it comes to an end when we are buried. But our action is not buried. Action cannot be buried. Our effort cannot be buried. An honest effort will always be remembered. An honest effort will always be remembered. So this grave is not going to devour everything. It devours maximum. It eats away maximum, but not all. Remember the very line from Shakespeare's sonnet. If you have ever read sonnet 65th, that my love may still shine bright until this miracle have might. What is that? Even after the death of his love, in that sense, his fair youth, can be William Herbert, can be Henry Osley. Exactly, the body of those will die, will meet the grave, but they will not come to an end, because this black ink has a miraculous might that will keep even dead alive, and death will not be able to cause death to someone who is enclosed in our books, in our lines. That's what the view of Arnold is there. Action cannot be buried. Shakespeare is dead, still alive. His body buried, but he is still alive. We study him today, we discuss him. See the same thing about Arnold. His action is remembered. His body is no more, but his action is remembered. This is the point of this line is there, that nor all glut the devouring grave. This devouring grave is never going to be satisfied. It devours everything. It's like glutton. Eats everything and eats a lot. We know this grave is never going to be satisfied, but it cannot eat everything. It cannot eat everything. We have chosen our path. Definitely, as a human being, we have our own path. Because always there are two paths. Remember, which way we have to go, we decide. We can go to the right path, we can go to the wrong path. It is always our choice. So we decide which way to go. We have chosen our path to a clear purposed goal. See, the point is to be Path is repeated. Path to a clear, purposed goal. The goal is very clear. The path is also clear. And this goal is with a purpose. So we decide which path to go and for what purpose. If we are studying Matthew Arnold, okay, so the path is English Kingdom. Path is English Kingdom, medium is English Kingdom. But the goal is to crack PGT. That's the goal. So the path is clear to join English Kingdom. The goal is clear to crack PGT. That is what the view is. Very clear view. We have chosen our path to clear purpose, goal, path of advance. Path of advance. If we have a clear view, this clear view of our will tell us that we are advancing. Remember, the clarity of thought will make your path clear. If your path is not clear, the reason is your thought is not clear. Make your thought clear, your path will be automatically clear. This is what he says. Clear purpose goal, path of advance, but it leads a long, steep journey through sunk gorges. Yeah, if you have a goal, it takes time. The journey seems to be longer. It's always like a steep journey going deeper and deeper and deeper. You're finding no end of this journey. But you keep going because you are clear. Clear for what? You will go on that path because you have a purpose. You have a clear purpose goal to walk on that path, and there would be no confusion. You will go on whatever time it takes, how long the journey is, how steep it looks, doesn't matter. You just keep going, keep moving, sunk gorges over mountains and snow. Yeah, you have heard about Georges, the 4 great kings, Georges, ruling England, but ultimately they are also the part of the snows. They were buried in the lap of the mountains covered with snow. Cheerful, with friends we set forth. This is why we need good friend in our life. We need good friend in our life to move on, to go on. This is why we always say, please do have good friends. These good friends will tell you what you are. We set forth, then on the height come the storms. Well, remember this point especially I want to tell you metaphorically. When you reach height, you are on your path now. You walking gradually up and down, and you reach to the height. When you reach height, at that point you will find some storms coming to you. I always say, when you are close to success, the maximum difficulties you will feel. The maximum challenges will come to you. Before you find your garden. Remember the very line from Robert Browning's prose speaking. Because he tells us that garden began, but before garden began, we have to go for one more match, one more tournament, one more fight. And that will be toughest. He says the best and the last. The best and the last means toughest fight will be when we reach very close to our success. The challenges are alarming. We are almost helpless to solve or handle these challenges. That's what he says. Then on the height comes the storms, thunder crashes from the rock. We close to success and there will be thundering, lightning. Can be the witches entering. Okay, so that's the point. Thunder will be there, storm will be there, height will be there. But one who is determined, one who is firm, will keep moving on, keep going on without any worry what to do and what not to do and how to do. That's what. To rock, the cataract reply, there will be cataract. Cataract, you remember? The strong sound of reply from the rocks, the sound, that's echoing sound. When there is thunder, it will echo. When there is the lightning, it will echo. When there is a storm, storm will echo. So echoing sound will be there all the time around the snows. Lightning dazzle our eyes. Beautiful explanation before we reach our success. Lightning dazzle our eyes. I told you the path we go on and the time when we are very close to success is a time of great confusion. Sometimes we divide and we fail. Sometimes we divide and we fail. The point is, when we are close to this point, we should not divide ourselves. We should not over meditate anything. But yes, remember, before you become successful, when you are close to your success, you will face storms, you will face thunders, and you will face lightning that will dissuade you, that will distract you to move away from your clear purposed goals. They will try. You remember the very point of I think Yaksha, who put some question to Yudhishthira and Mahabharata, and how he gave some greedy options to Yudhishthira. How tough examination he faced there, challenge he faced there. Why? Because he was very close to success. Closer to success, tougher will be question, always remember. If you remember this point, you will never be disappointed with even your failure. If you are close to success, challenges will be always tough. That's what he says. When we are on the height, comes the storm, thunders crashes from the rock. To rock the cataracts reply, lightning dazzles our eyes. Lightning dazzles our eyes. Roaring torrents have breached. Torrents, that's the great storm of the water. That will breach, that will start the track. When there is a flow, there is flood of water, strong water. What does it do? The flood or flow of strong water breaks the path. It will make difficult for us to go on. But remember, the one thing, determination is above everything. If we are determined to go on, nothing can stop us. But yes, there will be challenges to check us. Remember when Hanumanji is going to Lanka, he was not given clean path. Even gods put a goddess to question Hanumanji, to check his ability to go and come back from Lanka. This was done. So this is the very spirit of challenge. When we are on a path, sometimes the strong torrents will break our path as well. The flood will come and it will destroy our path, breach the track. The stream bed descends in the place where the wayfarer once planted his footsteps. See the point? The stream bed descends. Stream beds means the flow of flood will come. In the place where the wayfarer, visitors, once planted his footsteps. Visitors, when they visited the place, they used to come. You know, when we are on some path or goal, the footsteps our farmers help us. Like the leak has been made, with the help of that leak, we reach the place. But when there is torrent, when there is a storm, when there is flood, it breaks those path and it destroyed the marks of the footsteps, make it difficult to go on. The spray boils over its borders. The spray, in the sense of snow falls, destroys its borders. Aloft, the unseen snow beds dislodged. There will be the beds of snow dislodged there, disappeared. You cannot be sure where was that snow. One moment pass and it's gone. There hanging ruins, alas, everywhere. The flood will bring ruins. Why? Because it will ruin the path. It will ruin the place where we can hide ourselves. It will ruin the footsteps that can help us to reach out. Everything will be destroyed, and what will remain? Only ruins. Ruins all around us. Alas, havoc is made in our train. Havoc is made in our train. What happens? You remember the line, Sukh ke sab saathi dukh mein na koi? The beautiful bhajan. You may have ever heard, I think. What happens when it is time of your sukh, your happiness? There will be many friends around you. But when it is dukh, when it is time of pain, na koi, there would be nobody. What that means? That means if there will be difficulties like this, challenges like this, sometimes we can be left alone. Yeah, we start with friends. When everything is pleasant, friends will be with us. But when there will be challenges, some of the friends can leave us. That's the point here. See the point. Train in the sense of group of friends. Havoc is made in our train. There is horror. There is a fear among the friends, among the train. Friends who set forth at our side falter. Friends who set forth, the friends who moved with him, all of a sudden with the storms, with the lightning, with cataract, with the flood, with snowfall, they lose their confidence and can be faltering, can be losing their confidence, are lost in the storm. Remember, are lost in the storm. They all have gone away from us. And who is left alone? Just one man. The man who is firm is left alone. We only are left. Remember the very line from Henry V of Shakespeare. We few, we only few, we band of brothers. Few does not mean we are less. Few does not mean we are weak. Few does not mean we cannot do anything. Yes, few means the man of same temperament. Remember the line from Ulysses, one equal temper of mind and heroic heart. Definitely, when you are on your tough task, you will not have crowd. You will not have many friends. But yes, just a few, those who will be with you, exactly they are the men of same temperament, never to surrender. They will go on with you. And you can move on the toughest target only with such person. You cannot move with the persons like those who are coward or selfish. They will lose their path. They will go away from our path and they will lose their track. But yes, by the point you see, the point is very, very important. We only are left with frowning foreheads, with lips sternly compressed, we strain on. After the flood, what can be situation? The forehead is frowning. We will be disturbed because such horrible scene of storm, such horrible scene of rain, such horrible scene of flood, such horrible scene of snow, such horrible scene of cataract, such horrible scene of thunder, lightning, everything that can disturb us, trouble us. So it creates problem to our brain, and that's what happened. Exactly, the problem is there for our head. With the lips sternly compressed, we press our lips. Like sometimes, this is how we do. Because we don't find the path, we start nail biting and all such thing and pressing like what to do, where is the path, will we go on, should we stop? Lots of things are there that come our mind, troubling our mind, tiring our lips, tiring our energy. We strain on. But yes, those who are the last members living with you, they will never leave you alone. They will strain on, they will go on, and at nightfall at last come to the end of our way. On. Just keep moving on. And one day when there is a nightfall, when there is evening, there will be the end of the way. There will be the end of the path. Means one day at the time of the sunset, we will reach the place we deserve. We will reach the goal we decided. Clear, purposed goal will be ours. If we keep on moving on, at nightfall at last come to the end of our way. To the lonely inn mid the rocks, the path will go on. Path will go on. This journey will go on. We will go on. We'll reach ultimately to an inn. Inn, kind of hotel you can say on the way, to take some shelter, to rest while there. Mid the rocks, remember, this inn is among the rocks. Nobody expects there is an inn. But yes, if you keep going, there would be some help for you. If you are not going to surrender, if you are not going to feel yourself defeated, there would be some path to help you. Where the gaunt and taciturn host, there will be some gaunt, some small, some meaningless or ill host will be there. Taciturn, silent host will be there. Stands on the threshold. They will be standing on the very gate to welcome us, because this is lonely inn. There would have been many one who tried to reach there. So not a very common welcome we will given. We will be given a very rare welcome there. So that's what stands on the threshold, the wind shaking his thin white hairs. Now after reaching that inn, who is welcoming us, now it is fine. Now this wind, this air will be there, shaking with hair. What that means? The air is white. What does that mean? Can be with air snowfall. You know, the snowfall is continuously giving, and with the flow of the air you see, it should be shaking like this. It will be moving like this. So it will be flowing, diving in air. That's what he says, shaking his thin white hairs. There can be snowfall after reaching that in, and that snowfall and air will welcome him. Holds his lantern to scan or storm beats figure. That holds his lantern. Right? If you reach somebody's house, what he does? If you are a guest, he has a lantern. He looks at your face to recognize, are you the same who was coming or there is someone else? That's how we recognize. In old days, remember, when lantern was there, not light like this. And if you are disfigured with snow, snowfall, flood, dust, everything is on our body, on our face. So one who is going to be our host will like to check us. Are you the same who was coming? That will happen. That's the point here. Holds his lantern to scan or storm beat figures and ask. Storm beat figures means the men are coming facing the storm. The storm has made them tired of. Look disfigured, snow covered. So they have been questioned. Who is questioning? Host. Who is host? Thin white haired wind. It's a wind that's so questioning him. Whom in our party we bring. Means who is with us coming. It's not like everybody will get pass. Suppose 4 are allowed, there are 5. So the 5th will be questioned. Who is that man? So the host is putting question. Whom in our party we bring? Whom we have left in the snow? Exactly. Many people lost. Many people lost. Some people come together. So how many have been lost? Who were they? And how many have come? Who are these? Both should be told. Sadly we answer. If the question is there, there would be answer. And the answer, we bring only ourselves. We lost sight of the rest in the storm. Just one has come here, and that is ourselves. What we have lost? We have lost our eyesight. We have lost the sense of sight in the storm. Hardly ourselves we fought through. It was very difficult. It was very difficult to come through the snow. We fought very difficulty. We very difficultly we found the path to come out. Stripped anyhow. We cut, and cutting the place, stripped down. Strip means removing something away from body, like snow we are removing all such things. Without friends as we are. All friends we lost. And now we are without friends. So those who are left with us, they are the friends ourselves. And those whom we lost, they were also friends, but without them we are. And friends, companion, and friends, the avalanche swept from our side. It was avalanche. Avalanche, you know? The huge storm of the snow mountains. That is avalanche. So when avalanche comes, you know, have you seen, watch the movie Bahubali Part 1? I think in that movie there is avalanche scene. Or have you watched the movie Shivam? Even in that movie there is an avalanche scene. When the snow mountain breaks down, the storm or flood of the snow comes and that destroys everything. Very strong storm it is. Destroys everything. That's what he's mentioning. He says, friends, they have been destroyed. Companions, they have been destroyed. Trains in the sense of can be servant, can be supporters that were coming there. They all were destroyed. And who was the destroyer? It was avalanche. It was the storm of the snow that could break it. This is why the poet is without any clue, and he has simply just one word or some words to tell the host that who are with us. Now just a few of us are left. Only ourselves are left. Other selves are gone. Other selves means friends have gone, companions have gone, trains have gone. That's the very story. Remember the story? When we are on a tough target, it is just we and our great effort that helps us to make impossible possible. When we reach that possible track, definitely we lose when you remember the war of Troy. That seemed to be impossible task for Agamemnon to conquer, but he conquered. Remember the loss. He lost himself, he lost his brother, he lost Achilles, he lost Ajax, he lost many soldiers. He lost many soldiers. Remember that is, but ultimate, he kept trying, he kept trying, he kept trying and reached his goal. So one clear purpose goal. Remember the point I have repeated many times. The path with a clear purposed goal is never going to be a failure one. It will always lead us to success. Remember, when we are on the path of success, storm will be there, thunders will be there, avalanche will be there, flood will be there, lightning will be there, but they all will not be able to dissuade us if we are determined to reach that clear purposed goal. With that view, we make the end of the class today. We'll continue with the remaining text of the poem tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Have a great time, great joy, great honor. Thank you very much.